Some call it fate, some call it balance. But the truth is simple. The universe never forgets. Every stone they threw, every trap they set, every silent wish they whispered for your downfall, it circled right back to them like a boomerang with sharper edges. Cosmic balance isn't a myth. It's the quiet architect behind every rise and every ruin. Those who tried to bury you are now buried under the weight of their own intentions, and life, with its relentless precision, makes sure no debt goes unpaid. You were never fighting alone. Every time they tried to dim your light, the universe sharpened your fire. While they built walls, you learned how to fly. While they laughed behind closed doors, they locked themselves inside cages of envy. You are the living proof that no act of sabotage ever escapes the gravity of consequence. Chosen ones, your success isn't an accident. It's the echo of every moment you refuse to fall. Your very existence haunts those who bet against you. Their attempts to chain you only forged your wings. You don't walk among them. You rise above them, untouchable, undeniable, unforgettable. Remember this: the same forces they misused to stop you became the winds that propelled you. Their betrayal was your blessing in disguise. If you feel this truth in your soul, like this video and subscribe, not just for today, but for the endless victories still ahead. Your journey has just begun. If you feel the weight of being misunderstood, know this: it's not random, it's the signature of the chosen. Only a true chosen one can feel this storm and still rise. Others can't even recognize the battle you're winning. Stay with me until the end, because what's coming next is the blueprint for those who refuse to be ordinary. Number 1. Break the chains of normalcy. Stop settling before it buries you. You didn't just walk a different path. You carved one through stone with your bare hands when no one was clapping, no one was watching, and no one dared to follow. You moved without applause, without maps, without safety nets. And in doing so, you didn't just survive. You exposed the quiet fears everyone else tried to bury under conformity. Every silent step you took away from the crowd screamed at the life they could have lived if only they had the courage to break free. You never walked into their world begging for approval. You didn't parade your dreams, nor did you ask for their permission to be more. Yet your very existence, your silent discipline, your refusal to fold, became a mirror they could not escape. It's not arrogance they sense, it's clarity. You carry a rare blueprint they can't copy. How to stand alone in a world that demands followers. How to thrive without thirsty eyes needing validation. How to remain pure in a landscape drenched in performance. And that's what unsettles them. You are not here to blend in. You are here to reveal, painfully and unmistakably, that the small, safe lives they chose were never the only choice. Your life reminds them that they settled, and every time you breathe freely in your own lane, it scratches at the chains they willingly shackled themselves with. They won't say it out loud. Most don't have the courage to, but you'll see it in their sideways glances, feel it in the cold politeness, hear it in the subtle barbs and backhanded compliments. You didn't trade your authenticity for temporary belonging, and that's why their energy shifts when you enter the room. You represent a kind of bravery they abandoned long ago. While others were busy watering themselves down to fit into plastic crowds, you stayed fierce. You stayed real, even when it cost you company, even when it felt like carrying fire with bare hands. You never had to put on a performance. Your stillness is your speech. Your realness is your rebellion. You didn't climb stages for applause because you understood something deeper. In a world full of noise, true presence doesn't need a microphone. You are the disruption they never prepared for, a living, breathing reminder that freedom is possible, but only for those willing to risk being misunderstood. You didn't just walk differently, you became the difference. And for those trapped in their masks, living lives written by other people's expectations, your authenticity is a threat they can't unsee. You are the proof that a life without chains exists, and every time they see you, their own compromises echo louder. You were never here to fit their comfort. You were here to outgrow it, and you have. Number 2, detach from their applause. Validation. Addiction is killing your power. Chosen ones understand this truth. The moment you start chasing applause, you hand over your power to people who were never meant to carry it. Their claps, their nods, their approval. It's a drug designed to make you forget who you are. And you were never built to survive on borrowed air. Applause is sweet, but it's a trap. It conditions you to move for their cheers instead of your own vision. It ties your worth to their moods, their whims, their shallow recognition. And once they sense you need it, even slightly, they can shape you like clay. They can feed you when they want something and starve you when they want you to kneel. But you are different. You didn't come this far to be another puppet performing for claps that lose meaning the second the crowd turns. You learned to clap for yourself in the empty rooms. You learned to believe in your own steps when no one noticed your moves. And that terrifies them, because when you no longer need their applause, you become uncontrollable, untouchable, unshakable. You move in silence, fueled not by noise, but by knowing. You become the storm that doesn't announce itself. It just arrives and changes everything. The truth is, the applause they offer was never pure. It was layered with expectation, control, and silent conditions. We'll clap as long as you stay small. We'll cheer as long as you need us. But you outgrew the leash, disguised as love. You detached from the noise they thought you'd drown without, and now you breathe in altitudes they can't even reach. Number 3, master the art of letting go. Clinging will be your downfall. There's a secret that chosen ones learn the hard way. Not everything you touch is meant to stay. Some doors you were never meant to keep open. Some hands you were never meant to hold forever. The universe doesn't reward those who cling. It uplifts those who know when to release without begging, without breaking. Clinging is the silent assassin of destiny. It disguises itself as loyalty, as hope, as love. But underneath, it's fear wearing a pretty mask. Fear of change, fear of loss, fear of standing alone in your truth. And make no mistake, those who cling end up carrying dead weight that was never meant to cross into their future. But you, chosen one, you're wired differently. You've felt the sting of letting go. You've tasted the loneliness that follows a clean break. Yet every time you released what weighed you down, you didn't crumble. You evolved. You became lighter, faster, more aligned with your true calling. They didn't understand it. They called you heartless, selfish, detached. Let them. You weren't made to carry broken pieces for the sake of appearances. You were made to ascend. Letting go is not weakness. It's the highest form of strength. It's choosing your peace over the comfort of chaos. It's understanding that you are not a graveyard for expired relationships, expired dreams, or expired versions of yourself. When something no longer fuels your spirit, your soul recognizes it before your mind even tries to justify staying. Trust that instinct. It's your lifeline. The world around you clings to titles, to people, to illusions, because they believe survival depends on possession. You, however, know better. You've seen that true survival, true greatness, is born in the spaces where you refuse to settle. Your detachment is not coldness, it's power. It's the art of knowing that nothing real will ever require you to beg, chase, or shrink. Remember this: the more you release what no longer serves you, the faster the universe replaces it with what you truly deserve. Your enemies hoped you would stay trapped in places you had outgrown. Instead, you chose freedom, and that decision alone already made you victorious. You didn't lose anything by letting go. You made space for everything that's finally meant for you. Number 4. Drop the mask. Fakeness will rot. Everything you're building, chosen ones, there's a silent rot that destroys empires long before the walls fall, and it begins the moment you put on a mask. In a world addicted to appearances, it's easy to slip into pretending, to polish a version of yourself for easier acceptance. But every time you hide your real self to fit in, you chip away at the very foundation you're trying to build. Fakeness doesn't just cost you time, it costs you your soul. And eventually, everything built on lies collapses under its own weight. You weren't chosen to wear a costume, you were chosen to wear your truth, raw and untamed. Pretending to be something you're not for the sake of approval is like planting seeds in poisoned soil. No matter how beautiful it looks at first, it can never truly grow. Every mask you wear delays your destiny. Every fake smile drains your real strength. Chosen ones don't move like the crowd because they aren't built from the same hollow materials. You're made of something real, something the world can't replicate or manufacture. The truth is, your authenticity terrifies people who survive on performance. When you walk into a room fully yourself, unfiltered, unpolished, undeniable, it shakes their illusions to the core. You expose the hollowness of everything they worked so hard to fake. You remind them that realness can't be bought, borrowed, or mimicked. And that's why they'll whisper. That's why they'll throw shade. It's not because you're wrong. It's because your truth threatens the false worlds they've built. Every time you refuse to water yourself down, you raise the standard. You show what real resilience, real grit, real presence looks like. And for people who have traded truth for temporary applause, your existence is unbearable. They will label you too much because your light exposes their shadows. They will call you difficult because your authenticity refuses to bend to their comfort zones. But you weren't chosen to make the fakes feel safe. You were chosen to rise so high that no mask could ever reach your altitude. Drop the mask, because while they're busy rehearsing for acceptance, you're busy becoming unforgettable. You don't need a mask to matter. You need your truth to conquer. Number 5. Stop chasing. Desperation only attracts disasters. There's a silent power that comes the moment you stop chasing. A shift so profound, it tilts the very ground beneath your enemy's feet. Chosen ones, understand this. The moment you stop running after what is not aligned with you, you stop handing your power away. Desperation is a loud announcement to the universe that you doubt your own worth. And nothing invites chaos faster than the scent of self-doubt. They want you to chase. They want you to run in circles, seeking their approval, their love, their acceptance. Because as long as you are chasing, you are beneath them. You are feeding their illusions. But the day you stop, the day you plant your feet in the ground and say, "I need nothing that needs convincing," that's the day the tide turns. Your stillness becomes your strike. Your silence becomes your storm. You are not meant to beg for doors to open. You are the storm that tears down doors that were never meant for you. Chosen ones don't run after crumbs. They build tables so powerful that even the arrogant wish they had a seat. Every time you chase something not meant for you, a person, a title, a validation, you dilute your own energy. You leak your crown trying to fit into thrones far too small for your spirit. When you stop chasing, you magnetize. You don't pull with desperation, you pull with destiny. Your lane becomes a force field, pulling in only what is crafted for your hands to hold. The people who once ignored you, the opportunities you once cried over, the moments you thought were missed, they all begin to feel the gravitational pull of your authenticity, and not all will have permission to enter. Desperation is loud, but alignment is silent and undefeated. When you move in certainty, the very things you once thought you needed start needing you. That is the law of cosmic balance. That is the hidden advantage the chosen carry without even trying. So stop chasing, stop explaining, stop reaching for hands too small to carry your future. Stand still. Watch how the universe bends to meet the ones who no longer beg. You are not here to pursue, you are here to prepare, and let destiny unfold exactly where you're standing. Number 6. Command the room in silence. Loud energy always loses. Real power doesn't announce itself. It walks in and changes the atmosphere without ever saying a word. Chosen ones, you were never designed to scream for attention, because attention already bends toward you. The loud ones and the performers, the desperate noisemakers, they don't realize that the louder they shout, the smaller they truly seem. Noise is a mask for emptiness, but presence speaks in a language the desperate can't imitate. When you step into a room, you don't compete for a spotlight. You become the gravity that pulls every eye without lifting a finger. It's not the volume of your voice that commands respect. It's the weight of your spirit. A kind of silent authority that those who rely on drama and chaos can't even begin to understand. While they exhaust themselves trying to be noticed, you remind the world that real power moves in silence, and silence always outlasts the noise. You see, those who need to be seen constantly are already at war with their own invisibility. But you made peace with solitude long ago. That's why your presence disturbs the ones who haven't found their own. It's a quiet force that whispers, "I don't need you to see me. I know exactly who I am." And that kind of certainty, it terrifies those who still depend on validation to breathe. Understand this: when you operate in silence, you place the burden of reaction on others. You let them reveal their insecurities while you remain anchored, unmoved, unshaken. It's why fake confidence crumbles around you, why shallow conversations fall flat in your presence. You don't just walk into a room, you shift it. You don't just occupy space, you redefine it. Chosen ones, your silence isn't emptiness. It's a battlefield strategy. It's the invisible hammer that breaks fragile egos without a single swing. Let others chase noise. Let them perform and pander. Your stillness, your restraint, your unbothered energy, that's the real thunder. That's the kind of power no stage, no microphone, no cheap applause can replicate. You don't follow the energy, you set it. And that's why they can't stand you, because they can't touch you. Number 7. Move with purpose. Popularity will lead you straight into emptiness. Chosen ones, understand this. The world is a carnival of noise, a flashing parade where the loudest float gets the most claps, but the ground underneath is hollow. They'll tell you to chase the crowd, to move faster, to dance for their approval. But what they don't tell you is that the applause fades quicker than it arrives, and when it does, the emptiness is deafening. You weren't called to be popular, you were summoned to be powerful. You weren't built for temporary cheers, you were built for eternal echoes. Every step you take with intention threatens those who have spent their entire lives chasing attention. They sprint after trends, sacrifice their authenticity for claps, stretch themselves thin trying to be seen. And yet, they end up feeling invisible anyway. Because no matter how many eyes are on you, if you aren't moving with purpose, you're just spinning in place. You, chosen one, you move differently. You move quietly, but with the weight of something real behind you. You're not scrambling to be seen. You're aligning with what was already written for you. Your presence disturbs the fakers because they know deep down, no amount of spotlight can mimic the glow of someone who walks with truth. The ones who chase popularity are prisoners to it. They need validation, like oxygen. One wrong move, and the same crowd that praised them will crucify them. But you don't live for the crowd. You don't measure your worth by noise. You don't bend your mission for mass approval. And that makes you unstoppable. You're not here for the trends. You're here to shift timelines, to create movements, to walk a path that most will only have the courage to follow years from now. You're laying foundations while others are chasing fleeting moments. You're building legacies while they're burning out for likes. Never forget, popularity is a sugar rush. Purpose is a feast that sustains you for life. Stay grounded in your purpose. Let the world chase its own shadow while you stand as the light they can never touch. You weren't born to follow the echo. You were born to be the original sound. Number 8. Reject the crowd's lies. Mass approval is a trap. There's a silent war happening all around you, chosen one, but most can't even see it. They think the louder the crowd, the safer they are. They think mass approval is a crown, but you know better. You've seen what the crowd really is, a sea of borrowed dreams, recycled opinions, and hollow applause that vanishes the moment you stop performing. You didn't come this far to drown in that. Understand this. The crowd doesn't celebrate authenticity. It rewards the ones who can mimic, who can bow, who can be whatever the moment demands. And that's why you were never meant to blend in. Your very existence is a rebellion against the counterfeit lives they defend so desperately. They want you to believe that numbers mean truth, that if enough people cheer for something, it must be right. But you've felt the emptiness under their cheers. You've seen how quickly loyalty turns into betrayal the second you stop dancing to their tune. Mass approval isn't validation. It's a leash disguised as applause. You were cut from a cloth too rare to be stitched into their tired patterns. You know that real growth often looks like isolation. Real success often feels like silence at first. And real purpose doesn't need to go viral to be powerful. That's the kind of truth the crowd can't accept, because it would mean admitting how much of their life was lived on autopilot. The moment you stopped chasing approval, you became unstoppable. The second you chose your lane, the second you built without their permission, you became a threat to everything fake they ever clung to. That's why they whisper. That's why they doubt you. Not because you're wrong, but because your freedom exposes their chains. Remember this, the masses love comfort, not truth. They'll cheer for anything that makes them feel safe, even if it's a lie. But you were never built for safety. You were built for significance. Stay in your lane. Trust the isolation. Let the noise pass you by like a storm that can't touch a mountain. You are not here to be understood by the crowd. You are here to outlast them. Number 9. Guard your peace like a fortress. Chaos wants to infiltrate it. Your peace isn't just a feeling, it's your fortress. And believe me, chaos is always lurking, looking for cracks to sneak through. You didn't battle through storms just to hand over the calm you earned to people who haven't survived half your wars. You built that peace brick by brick, through nights of silence, through betrayals that would have broken weaker souls, through battles you had to fight alone. And now, it's your strongest weapon. But understand this, the world hates what it cannot control. Your calmness, your grounded energy. It shakes people who thrive on drama, who feed on noise. To them, your peace is an insult to their chaos. They can't comprehend how you're not drowning in the same storms they're stuck in. They want to pull you back into the noise because your stability reminds them of everything they're running from inside themselves. That's why chosen ones must be vigilant. You can't entertain every invitation to a fight. You can't accept every hand offered in false friendship. You can't allow every voice a seat at your table. Some people knock on your gates, not because they admire the kingdom you've built, but because they secretly want to set it on fire. Guard your peace the way a fortress guards its crown jewel, ruthlessly and without apology. Protect your mind, your energy, your time. You owe no explanations for why your world is quieter, smaller, stronger. Let people call it arrogance, let them call it isolation, but let no one breach the walls you bled to raise. Because the moment you start negotiating your peace to make others comfortable, you've already handed them the keys to your downfall. Chaos doesn't announce itself loudly. It creeps in through small compromises, through tolerated disrespect, through distractions dressed as opportunities. It will disguise itself as urgency, as entertainment, even as love. But its goal is always the same: to dismantle what you built. Remember this, your peace isn't a luxury, it's your defense system. Your calm isn't passive, it's a strategy. Every second you stay grounded while the world spins is a declaration that you cannot be shaken, cannot be baited, cannot be undone. You didn't survive the war just to lose the peace. Guard it like the legacy it is, because that's exactly what it is. Number 10. Transform your pain or stay trapped. Your darkness isn't meant to kill you. The shadows you walked through weren't there to end you. They were there to awaken you. Pain didn't come to bury you. It came to mold you into something no ordinary soul could ever become. The storms you survived weren't random acts of cruelty. They were the fires that burned away the weak parts, the illusions, the parts of you that were never built to carry the weight of greatness. Chosen ones, understand this clearly. Life never handed you darkness to destroy you. It handed it to you because it knew only you could turn it into gold. Most people, when the nights get long and the storms get violent, fold. They crawl into cages they decorate with excuses. They stay stuck, telling the world how unfair everything is. But not you. You didn't let your bruises become your chains. You sharpened them into armor. While others drowned in their bitterness, you found a way to breathe underwater. While they begged the storm to stop, you learned how to dance in the flood. You didn't just survive the darkness. You used it as a ladder to climb beyond anything they could ever imagine. That's what terrifies those who once wished you would break. They see you now, rising, glowing, moving with a strength they cannot explain. And deep down, it crushes them. Because they know they would have folded in your position. They know they would have stayed trapped where you broke free. Number 11. See beyond their smiles. Surface truths will always betray you. Not every smile you see is a celebration of your rise. Some are masks, thin, trembling covers stretched over envy, fear, and silent resentment. As a chosen one, you were never meant to take things at face value. Surface truths are crafted for public comfort, but real intentions hide behind the easy words, the rehearsed warmth, the shallow congratulations. And if you don't train your sight beyond the glitter they flash, you'll find yourself tangled in illusions designed to slow you down. You were gifted a sharper vision for a reason, not to become paranoid, but to become precise. Most people live layered lives, stacking smiles over wounds, stacking compliments over competition, stacking friendships over unspoken rivalry. But you were built to see the fault lines before they crack open. Your spirit senses the tremor in their handshake, the hesitation behind their praise, the small betrayal sitting just behind their eyes. And that's not a curse. It's your armor. The world teaches masks before it teaches honesty. That's why so many who shake your hand today would gladly watch you fall tomorrow if it made them feel bigger. But you already know, a crowded table doesn't guarantee loyalty. A crowded room doesn't guarantee admiration. Chosen ones move differently because we trust the undercurrent, not the surface. We read the silence louder than the applause. And this clarity terrifies them, because when you see too much, you can't be easily manipulated. When you sense what's unspoken, you become a mirror they can't stand to look into. They can fake support with their words, but your energy reads the fractures no performance can hide. You aren't fooled by borrowed smiles anymore. You recognize that real loyalty whispers in actions, not declarations. Number 12. Refuse to shrink. Playing small won't save broken people. There comes a moment when you realize shrinking yourself to make others comfortable doesn't heal them. It only breaks you. Chosen ones, you were never meant to fold yourself into smaller frames to fit shattered spaces. You were carved to stand tall, not crouch in the shadows of people who fear their own reflection. Understand this: playing small doesn't rescue broken souls. It only traps you inside their brokenness. You were never too much. You were simply too real for those addicted to their own illusions. When you shine, you don't just light the room. You expose everything hiding in its corners, and not everyone is ready to face what your presence reveals. That's why they try to label you as too proud, too intense, or too different. It's easier for them to call you the problem than to admit they're uncomfortable with their own mediocrity. Their discomfort is not your burden to carry. It's not your job to make them feel bigger by making yourself smaller. You didn't rise through storms and battles just to dim your fire at the doorsteps of their insecurities. Let them squirm. Let them whisper. Let them turn their backs. Their rejection is not your failure. It's their fear. Every time you choose to stand fully in who you are, you shake the ground beneath those who thought you would bow. You're not here to be digestible. You're not here to be palatable. You're here to be a reminder that healing is an inside job, one they can't outsource to you. Your refusal to shrink is not arrogance. It's self-respect. It's the cosmic reminder that no amount of shrinking will heal those still choosing to stay broken. Chosen ones move differently. You were built to stretch, to elevate, to inspire, not to dilute your soul so fragile egos could sleep better at night. Let your growth be loud. Let your spirit be undeniable. Let your life become the silent mirror that forces them to confront the parts of themselves they've long abandoned. And that's the truth most won't dare to say. Your refusal to shrink is your greatest rebellion. Every time you choose to stay solid in a world begging you to water yourself down, you remind them what real power looks like. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand. Their confusion is proof that you're operating on a level they can't even reach. If you feel that fire inside, if you know you were never made to play small, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and keep walking the path only the truly chosen ones can see.